Welcome to the Makeover Your Mindset podcast. I'm Cassie McKenzie. Think of me as your BFF for manifestation and high vibe mindset makeovers. It's my personal mission to turn your inspiration into action so you can be, do, and have everything you've ever dreamed of having in life. This podcast will focus a ton on creating fulfilling relationships with money, friends, and soulmates, and inspire you to have fun so you can live the most extraordinary life you've ever imagined. If you're ready to take to the next step, then you've come to the right place. Thanks again for joining me. Now let's begin. Alrighty, well, welcome back for the Makeover Your Mindset podcast. I'm Cassie McKenzie, and today we have a super exciting guest on, and this, it's the first time I've ever had a guest on my podcast before, but this one is such a beautiful soul. I absolutely love her. I had the opportunity to be on her podcast just last week, I believe.
Yeah, it just came out. Fresh off the press.
Savannah Hamilton, she's a lifestyle creator, a renowned motivational speaker, mindset master, and spiritual rebel. Oh, I love it. And she's been pushing the boundaries of an ordinary life since she entered this world. She is on a mission to globally inspire women to live untamed and unapologetic lives. She helps women who feel stuck, restless, and unfulfilled in their lives because deep down they know they were made for more and have designed a life that everyone else but themselves are proud of. So, as the founder of Untamed and Unapologetic, Women Who Want More Out of Life, the host of Wild Within podcast, and an international retreat host, Savannah uses all her platforms to help women expand their consciousness, stop playing small, let go of limiting beliefs and old stories, and step into their power to create a life of their wildest dreams. I love it. So welcome, Savannah.
Thank you so much. I just redid my bio and I was like, oh girl, that sounds good. So thank you for letting me hear that.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here, for letting us hear what you have to say. And, I really enjoyed our conversation. It seems like we're on the same, not just path, but also wavelength around like a lot of the, topics around like manifestation and money and all of that. And it'll be great to continue that. So, one of the things in your bio and one of the things that I am like so curious about that you do is your retreats. I want to hear more about how you started holding retreats and where, how long you've been doing that. Because you have a couple of really cool ones coming up.
I do. I'm very excited. So I, just to give like a little backstory, I came from a really small, tiny town where people didn't travel internationally. Neither of my parents have their passport. I grew up in Ohio, so I always wanted to go traveling. I always dreamed of like this dream life with these huge vacations, and it just always was this far out dream, never did I ever think it would be a reality. And when, growing up, I like did the do like everybody else does of coming from a small town. I graduated high school early. I went to college, got my master's degree, bought a house. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, is that really what I want to do? And I sold my house. I packed up everything I owned in U-Haul and came out with my 2 dogs to sunny San Diego.
Oh my gosh, it sounds just like me.
Yes, I know. When you shared your story, I was like, oh yes, that's me. Oh yes, that's me. I can relate. So, I just had this California dream, of just... And that was kind of the first pivotal step I took into kind of stepping into who I am. Mm-hmm. And when I came out to California, people are moving, they're shaking, they're traveling, they have they're on their 5th passport. I'm like, passport? I don't even have one. So when I was, I think 27, I was probably a little young. Actually, I was 25, got my first passport, started traveling. My first trip I'm 32 now. So 6 years I've been traveling, and I have traveled to almost 30 countries in the last 6 years. And I am like just getting at the tip of the iceberg. So traveling, like once I started doing it, and for me, traveling was it made me feel so empowered, and it allowed me to experience like other cultures and how other societies, and really kind of how it goes to my bio is shake society's expectations of you. I found when I traveled, we grow up in America, we're cultured to like be American, but there's so many other different perspectives and ways to live, and by means of doing things. And in America, this is a consumer-driven society. And traveling has really taught me to be a minimalist,
Right.
that I don't need to save. I don't need to spend my whole life savings to be able to travel. And
Right. So true.
yeah, I mean, and you were speaking as well. You travel. I mean, once I have children, and I want to incorporate traveling with them. It's such a huge part of my life, and I admire and love that you and your husband do that. Like when you told me that, I was like, oh, this is pulling at my heartstrings. Couple goals.
Yes, for sure.
So true. But traveling it has opened up a world of possibilities, and just changed me as a person. And when I started to develop kind of my business and how I wanted to support women and how I wanted to show up, I wanted traveling like had to be in there somewhere. I wanted to not only coach women to step into their selves, but I also wanted to show them like traveling doesn't have to be this forlorn object in the future that's really unobtainable, or it doesn't have to be this 5-star luxury hotel, and it doesn't have to cost thousands of dollars. You know?
Right.
I'm sure you can relate to this. Like I've seen I saw your Instagram, I saw you're traveling. Like it doesn't have to be that way. So, in February, I hosted my first women's retreat in Costa Rica.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, we stayed, and all of my travels are kind of like off the beaten path. So we stayed in little tree huts above the canopy forest in Costa Rica.
Oh my God! I bet my husband would put a skirt on just to be able to go do that.
Oh my gosh!
I'll be a woman for a week.
Oh, I love that. You know what? I hope soon to be able to open them to both men and women. But for right now, they're just women.
Yeah.
And that it was just beautiful getting away from kind of your comfort zone, your ordinary life, like the labels that you have on yourself in your daily life is just a whole different ballgame, because you really do have the ability to create whoever you want to be at that point.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. And, I think people just assume like traveling has to be expensive, like you were saying, or they just assume they're not going to be able to afford it. And they just go to when I was growing up in Virginia, you always went to the beach for a week in the summer. And basically it was the same exact damn thing as you did at home. Like you still cooked, you still cleaned, you still it wasn't a vacation to me. I looked at my husband, I'm like, hell no, we are not. We'll move towards the beach, but I am not going to spend a week making my own meals.
Right. Yeah. And I don't
cool places you can go and amazing food. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like most of the food that we eat here is definitely like a compilation of what we've experienced across the world.
And people don't realize like it's expensive in America. If you travel, I love traveling to third world countries like Thailand, Bali. I mean, these places are so cheap and you can get by on so much more. And I just wanted to be able to open that up to everybody. So I'm having I am having my next retreat. It's actually coming up in June 19th through the 23rd. And it's in Joshua Tree, California. So
I saw that. Oh man, tell me more.
Yes. So once again, it's kind of off the beaten path. For if the listeners don't know, Joshua Tree is like supposed to be a spiritual vortex. So very spiritual. You get lost in nature. I think for me, nature is very pivotal in getting back to your true self and just remembering kind of where you came from, getting away from the noise. And, I was reading a book and she said, we don't even realize like the electric hum that is constantly are surrounding us. And then when you're out in nature and it's completely quiet, you're like, oh, now I remember.
Totally. Oh yeah. I went for a walk the other day and I had just had like a bunch of kombucha and I took my dog for a walk and I came back and I'm like, Ian, I swear the leaves were waving at me. I'm like, I don't know what's in that kombucha, but I think the trees. I just had to take my shoes off and walk in the grass. And he looked at me like, what the hell happened to you? You never want to walk barefoot anywhere. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, it was the weirdest thing ever.
How funny. No, girl, you were just like vibing.
I think so.
Yeah. How cool. And I mean, honestly, probably how refreshed did you and rejuvenized did you feel after you came back in?
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm like, oh, hi, trees. What's going on?
You're like, now I know what a tree hugger is. Come here.
Well, you talk about Joshua Tree. That a funny-ish story. We went to, have you ever been to like Pioneer Town? That's near Joshua Tree in Yucca Valley area.
I don't think I've been, but I'm familiar.
Yeah. So like if you're out by Palm Springs, there's this little town called Pioneer Town, and there's a restaurant called Pappy and Harriet's that a lot of the bands that come like through Coachella will stop at Pappy and Harriet's and they'll play there too. Just like a low key show. It's a teeny tiny little, I mean, it's a pretty, decent sized restaurant, but a tiny town they used to use for Western movies. So it still has like all the old Western storefronts and stuff. We decided to go see a band play. It was the Eagles of Death Metal.
Yeah.
It was a hilarious band. I love them. And it was actually right when my husband had just moved to America to see if we would get along actually living together and not just talking on WhatsApp. And so we were there and I decided to take a picture with my friend and I wanted to like hug one of the Joshua trees, which I recommend never doing.
Oh my gosh.
It like stuck me in the arm. Yeah, I couldn't feel it was like lit on fire. And I looked at everyone. I'm like, oh my God, I just made a huge mistake.
Oh no.
Yeah, it swelled up. It got totally red. It was like bleeding, but weirdly, I don't know. I was like convinced my arm was gonna fall off.
Oh,
but
yeah, there's those like little stickers that you can't even see. Like it's like
it was one of
I don't
the
know.
prongs. They were, like the palm thingy. So I would definitely recommend don't choose that place to go tree hugging, but it does look awfully inviting.
So funny. No, I will recommend definitely tell none of them to.
I'll post the picture. I'll tag you. You could see. It's like right when I was getting stung and I came down.
Oh no.
Yeah, anyway. But
your husband's like, this lady is who I'm supposed to marry.
He's like, why did I leave Africa for this? What in the world?
Oh my gosh.
So,
but you don't know. You don't know. Coming from the Midwest, we have oak trees. They don't bite.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't at all. No. And in Costa Rica, you might get hit by a coconut, but that's
right. Right. The dangers are a little limited.
Yeah. Yeah. I personally, like, I have this kind of like calling for something that's like telling me that to host a retreat in Bali in November. Like I want to do it like over like Thanksgiving week. I don't know, like I have some sort of like urge to do that and put that together. Cause we actually went to Bali with, Liam, our kid, our boy, he was 1. I came back and found out I was pregnant, but yeah, we were in Canggu by Seminyak. So it was a pretty cool area that I'd love to go back to.
Oh my gosh. So I was just in Bali for my 3rd time last Thanksgiving.
Oh, you were?
Yes. I love Bali is hands down my favorite. And I know I would love to host a retreat there, but I've been there 3 times now. I love it. I just like want to go other places.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Like Fiji, that'd be a good one too. So
yes, girl. How do we make this happen for your retreat? Your people need it.
Exactly. I know. Yes. I'm like, I need to do that. So
yeah. And you know what? This is so funny that so on my Instagram this morning, are we allowed to cuss on here?
Sure.
Or should I be quiet? I'm like, should I tame myself? So I just posted on Instagram this morning. It just says, fuck it. And I'm like, this is what I usually say to myself before I do something that scares me. Yeah. And it's, saying goodbye to my limiting beliefs. It's saying like, fuck you to my like old stories that I'm living into. Right. And how I manifested a retreat that's literally what I said was, I just had the mentality, like you were saying, you have this inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And, I traveled so much. I'd hosted gatherings in group, like with girls, but never specifically a retreat. But that's exactly how I started. Like I just booked it. I said, this is what I'm doing. I gave myself a year, went to Costa Rica exactly a year before with my girlfriend. And we're like, this is what we're doing. We're having a retreat. And so sometimes
Awesome.
you really have to say, fuck it and move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Because like that was going to be one of my questions. Like, what was one of your most like like as far as, and you can say, because I would, as far as the retreats first, but then I
Yeah.
also want to ask you this, and just generally with traveling, because I think that's always one of my favorite topics to talk about, besides money, of course, which, the taboo of taboo besides like sex and religion, but hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love talking about travel, and especially because, podcasts can go worldwide, and there might be people all over the world that want to find out about new cool places to go to also. But what would you say is one of your like most fear defeating decisions that you've made,
Mhm.
in terms of like your coaching business, but also it could be like with retreats or with traveling?
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. So many of them. I have to pick one. I could tell you I'm probably fearful. I mean, every day, as we grow, and especially as we're leveling up, and especially when we are stepping into these new ventures, for myself as a coach or a retreat holder, you're going to have fears that come up because you're nearing the edge of your comfort zone. And
Yeah.
traveling, I think probably one of my most fearful things was when I graduated with my master's. I sold everything. I sold my car, I packed all my stuff, and I traveled around the globe for 2 months by myself.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I think I had like $3,000 saved. So it wasn't like a lot, but I made it. Like that didn't include my flights, but I traveled around the globe for $3,000. Like you can make it happen.
Yeah.
And the part that I was fearful of was because I had what society had told me, that like traveling alone as a female backpacker is you'll get raped or something.
Yeah.
Like I'll get raped in a dark alley.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. But I did it, and I'll tell you that allowed me to, I mean, it's multifaceted. Like number one, it left me feeling so empowered
Yeah.
because I knew that I could do anything I wanted on my own. And I didn't need, like, obviously it's great to have support, but like I could do it on my own.
Right.
And then number two is also I know many people think like booking a trip, why would you travel by yourself? For me, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could travel by myself all the time, because
Don't tell my family.
yeah, right. It pushes, when you travel with somebody, you're with them all the time, so you're constantly entertained. You don't need to push yourself, you don't need to talk to anybody else. You're kind of in your own little bubble. When you travel by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
Like you have to talk to somebody. Like I could talk to a stranger now. There's nobody that I'm afraid to talk to. I can strike a conversation with anybody. So it allowed me to grow as an individual.
Right.
But then also, traveling alone, you don't have to be on anybody else's time schedule. You get to do what you want to do. You can, traveling, like you could just stay in the room and chill all day if you wanted, and not feel bad about it.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's very powerful, and this doesn't even have to be through traveling, but being comfortable with being by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people, and I myself included, are not comfortable with sitting by themselves alone. So we feel, we feel that we need to like always have our calendar full. We always have to be doing something. I never wanted to just sit at home by myself. That made me uncomfortable. I didn't like that. So traveling alone really gave me an opportunity to look within,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of self-soothe some areas that were unhealed.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's nice when you don't have those distractions, like you said, as far as like having to entertain someone else or wait on their schedule, because you can be more spontaneous and flexible with your plans and, you know, get up at 4 a.m. to go see like the top of a mountain if you want to, or get up at 4 p.m. and stay in bed reading books all day.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, when do you get to do that here on your day-to-day life? Like, I'm sure many people do, but just having the free will to do what you want is so refreshing.
Yes, totally. I absolutely agree. So when you were traveling during those 3 months, it was 3 months or 6, did you say?
2 months.
2 months. So what continent were you?
Yeah. So I went all over. So first I went to Sydney, Australia, and I had a girlfriend there. Visited Australia, loved it. I didn't realize, oh my gosh, fun facts. I didn't realize that Australia is the same size as the US. So I thought I was going to be like going from the East Coast to the West Coast, going up to the Great Barrier Reef. I stayed in Sydney for 2 weeks because it is huge.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't think I even realized that either. That's a fun fact.
Right. Fun fact. And then fun fact number 2 is that Australia has the largest camel population in the world.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's so random.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Australians, I'm even more impressed.
I know. They're all like in the center in the desert, like in the flatlands, but I thought they were all coming from like the Middle East or something. That's what you would imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my fun facts about Australia.
There you go. Well, you can definitely tell, like when you go to Bali, the big Australian influence there.
Oh,
you know? I mean, for them, it's like going to the Bahamas is for, you know, people in the US, right? Because except it'd be so nice if Bali was really at the Bahamas for us.
I know. And then compared to the Australian dollar, how cheap it is.
Like, oh my God, it's so crazy. Well, it's like going to Hawaii and then, you know, you go to Bali and your dollar definitely does stretch a lot further. I mean, I got like one of my most fearful moments traveling was actually on the Gili Islands off the coast of Bali. It was, you know, on Lombok, and we did open water certification diving there. And I was like, oh, this will be fun. And I literally got like 5, like she made me take my mask off and then put it in the pool. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I don't know. I'm like freaking out. No, abort. And so like we got out like in the open water, and it was just me because my husband already has his. He only had to do like a refresher course. So it was just me with the instructor, God bless her. And so I got out. I mean, I panicked. I went down like 5 feet or 5 meters. Thank God I didn't have the wherewithal to calculate that 5 meters is actually 15 feet. Like it was like day 7 by the time I was doing those calculations. Thank God. But that was where you pushing through the fear. Cause I don't know if it's stubbornness or it's just like, okay, I've had this goal. It's here. It's right. Silver platter. I've got somebody teaching me who can like really focus on me. Like best case scenario, I'm just going to do it. Like I've got to be like push through the fear and do it. And I can't exactly say I loved it at first, you know, but I did it. And it was like, you know, becomes more and more comfortable. And I think that, like you said, traveling by yourself, like you might not have loved it the first couple of days, but then by, you know, week number 2, you're like, well, hell, I can never travel with another person again.
Yes, absolutely.
You know? And you start to really see what you're capable of. And I love that moment where like you get to like think about how impressed you are with yourself without having to have somebody else tell you that, you know?
Yes. What a beautiful moment. Well, first off, congratulations for getting your open water. That's amazing.
Well, you know, then I went on and did the advanced diving
certification. Get out.
Good for you. I did all of it. And then, so I did open water and advanced. My husband did a refresher and advanced. We stayed at like one of those beautiful villas for 8 days because we actually all got stuck on the island because of some storms that were coming through. The little ferry ride back to Lombok, like the day that we were leaving, was scarier than even.
You're like, I can make it through anything.
There's like 70 people crammed on this canoe. I'm like, oh my God, this is of course the moment I'm going to die. we made it.
Oh
But
my gosh, that's so
it was,
funny.
we did that. And then it was like all of our meals, all of our bintang, probably
The
drink my
local
body
beer.
weight in bintang. Yeah. Cause it's like, it's
50
more,
cents.
like it's everywhere. It's more often than water. Right.
All
So
right.
yeah. And I think our entire bill for that whole entire time was like $900 for
Mm-hmm.
all of that. I
Mm.
mean, just this, like the diving portion would be that much in America,
Yeah.
so like
Yes.
maybe more even, not even counting all of the
Everything.
things. And so now we can go anywhere we want. You know what I mean? Like we went to Belize. There's some really great
Yes.
diving down there too. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Did you do the blue hole?
No, the weather was only really great that one of the days. The other days it was there was like some storms coming through last July.
Yeah.
So no.
So fun. So it's funny. When we were in Bali, my boyfriend's never been certified before, and he just did the day, just like to kind of fun pass to see if he would like it. He hated it, just like you did. But that's the thing. Like you're pushing yourself, you're uncomfortable, like you're breathing through this mask, and like it's terrible. And I'll be honest, like I'm certified as well. And when I first got certified, I did it for my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I was like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid. I'm never going to use this stupid ass course again. Like I'm so scared. For those of you who don't know, they make you do these skills, and you have to go underwater, take your mask off while you're like trying not to breathe through your nose. I'm already scared shitless because I'm at the bottom of a 12-foot pool.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And then you put your goggles back on and have to clear them, but you have to like push on the top of your mask, blow the bubbles out of your nose. I have like snot coming out of my nose.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to hyperventilate.
Right.
So it's a mess. But I recommend it highly to everybody because it opens up a whole new world when you're traveling.
Yeah.
And like once you get into, and I'll tell you, I've been diving like under 20 times, probably maybe a little more. But once you get in the groove of it and you're a little more comfortable, and I'll be honest, I'm scared every time I get in the water going down. Like I'm always scared. I didn't grow up on water. I'm a little scared. But once I get down there, it is beautiful. And you get in this kind of like hypnotic trance state. And like it's world changing. I love it. I love it.
It is because you have to focus so much on your breath, you really do to like conserve all the oxygen, but also not freak out,
Yes.
So I know, because the first time I think I like went through my tank in about 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, now time to go back up. I'm like reading the meter. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ready.
I can relate. I can relate. So everybody go get their open water. It's not scary.
No. It's so, and like, especially to be able to go some places in America, like down in the Keys, and I'm sure there's just, I heard there's like one of the biggest reefs down there too. And it's like such fresh, clear water down there too.
Yeah.
I'd love to go there.
Oh, I love that you do this.
What, so like, let's see, like, as far as like, because now you've answered like so many of my questions. I love it. And okay, so then you went to like 30 different countries, right? So like, what has been your absolute favorite destination, and where is like your dream retreat destination?
Oh my gosh, great questions. So I will say my favorite place is Bali by far. Hence why I've been there 3 times. I tend to not to like to go back to the same place. But Bali by far, hands down, the people there, they are so genuine, so kind. And you really do get to live in, like, your dollar does go far there, but the land is beautiful. There's so much spirituality. If you're a yoga person, you can find yoga anywhere. You get to ride little scooters. So it's just like such a magical place, and there's so much diversity, and I love being in nature. So the jungles, the monkeys, like I highly recommend anybody, if they get a chance to go to Bali, go to Bali.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you traveled with your son there? That's what you said?
We did. So we did not do any of the scooters, but we saw plenty of families who did.
Oh my gosh, 5 of them on a scooter.
Exactly. And the grandma's driving.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we took some of like the local transport and, Uber drivers and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But there's still so much more to explore because, he was only a year old. So we still had a lot of crap that we were carrying with
Right.
us.
But
So we went
kudos
to
to
Ubud
you.
and then Canggu, we stayed there and then went to the Gili Islands. And by that
Yeah.
time, it was about time to come back.
Oh my gosh.
So
I honestly, I'm just in such awe of you traveling with a child. Like that is for Christmas, I'm like, we're not doing Christmas presents. We're going on a big trip. Like
yeah,
that's how I want to do with my
yeah.
family because I really do think it's so important for your children to see how other people live, to be grateful for what they have, like running water, clothes on their back, and
Mhm.
just to live life with an open heart. And I think that traveling really and exposing them to traveling at a young age is really important.
Yeah. Both of both of our kids, I think they were 3 months old when they had their first passport.
Oh my
I
gosh, love
know.
that.
The
Love
pictures are
it.
so cute too because they're
So
little
cute.
fat cheeks. Yeah, I know. I love it. So,
Oh, I
have
love
you?
that.
I know and it's so cute. Well, our son has about 100 different girlfriends in Bali. Like
Oh
we
my
did
gosh.
so many pictures. They loved him because his hair was like so blonde at the time, and it was like growing out, and he was a fat baby. Like he
Oh my
was
gosh,
just
so
stocky.
cute.
Like he was just like the
Yeah.
Michelin man. So the big cheeks, and he just sat there eating chicken satay and rice everywhere we went.
Oh my gosh. What a
Yeah,
little
and
cutie.
avocado on toast. And there's so many, like, if there's anyone listening with a lot of kids, or with just kids in general, you don't have to have a lot, but
All 10 of them can travel.
yeah, it's so kid friendly there too. I mean, there's so many little restaurants with playgrounds in the back, and like you can tell, like I said earlier, the Australian culture that's come over and kind of opened up a lot of places in Canggu and Seminyak, and it's
Mhm.
so family friendly and kid friendly because I think there's a lot of expats that have just decided to go there,
Yes.
permanently or semi-permanently at least,
Mhm.
and it's pretty impressive to see. Because
Yes, I love that.
yeah. And it's like, it's worth the long trip to get there too. But, we found the same when we went to Barcelona too, like back in September, that there was a lot of stuff for our son, like so many little playgrounds, like hidden in these little, walkways and stuff just in the middle of town. It was so cool to see because you don't see that all the time here in America. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
it
And
was very
I like to, I think you and probably me the same, I like to point out like when and this goes for life like in general and not even just with traveling, but especially for traveling when you like are starting to plan. So like how I do this is I buy my ticket first. Like that's the first thing I do. That's my fuck it moment when I'm like,
yeah,
you know what? Fuck it.
totally.
It's doing it. It's
Yeah,
happening. I'm
yeah,
doing it. I don't even care if I've saved money for the trip. I just do it and then I work backwards from there. And that's what I tell all my clients to as well in any goal is you pick a date and then you work backwards versus coming from this place right now where you're like, oh, where all your limiting beliefs kind of like swirl around you and you're telling yourself you can't, you're coming from a place of lack or scarcity.
mhm.
Like, no, it's all about empowering like who you want to be, your future self. Buy the ticket and work backwards. If you think that you need to budget $3,000 for this trip, like break it into halves and then break it into fourths and
Yeah,
set goals. But I was saying for when you were saying how like the children, there's so much for them to do.
mhm.
Like I know that I used to do this like, oh, is this going to be safe for like me as a like solo traveler, or oh, is it going to have things I like to do? Like it's not coming from a place of those are limits, those are limiting beliefs, limiting mindsets, and
Mhm.
they're going to come up because your brain wants to keep you safe, keep you
Right.
here in your cozy little house, and you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But in order, like, I don't even like for me, I've worked through this so much, like those things I don't even come up. It's not like, oh, I'm fighting for my limitations. It's like, how can I make this happen?
Right.
So for you, I mean, there might not have been a playground on every corner, but you find them,
Yeah.
you
You
make it
stumble on it.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody, traveling, pick a date, buy the damn plane ticket, and then work backwards because I hear so many people like, oh, I have to wait for the perfect timing. Like, there's never going to be perfect timing. You're
No.
never going to have $10,000 in your bank to go on this luxury retreat somewhere. You're never going to have all the time off work. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, and I know this isn't an option for everybody, but a lot of people don't even realize, like, say you've used all your PTO, you can still take time off and not get paid for it.
I think you're totally right, though. Like part of the thing I see people do the most, and, I think it, to an extent, I used to do it too, like, yeah, waiting for the perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
But also, putting it off and saying someday or coming, like the more you put it off, the more you give your brain chances to come up with reasons why not to do it. Like,
Mhm.
and at that book I was telling you about, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, the
Yes,
T. Harv
yes.
Eker one, like one of the things that he said is the difference between like, rich people and poor people, or millionaires and, not wealthy people, is that, the wealthy people make decisions quickly. And, like I count wealth as not just money, it's the experiences, the life, the amount of like love you share and give and take, or give and take. Yeah. You know what I
Give
mean?
and receive. Yeah.
Give and receive. That's it. Better. That's what I'm looking for. And, but, so it's like the whole big thing. And, travel definitely goes into that, like all that experience. Cause then, seeing how other cultures operate, and kind of dispelling what the media would lead you to believe. Like, I think when I first went to South Africa, like before I'd ever gone, I didn't really know much about it, and I was going to visit my husband, well, boyfriend-ish at the time.
Mhm.
And, I didn't know what to expect, like you hear, oh, third world country, it's probably going to be like a, really scary place, or maybe like I might need to, I don't know, like bring some sanitary wipes to go everywhere, like I don't, it might be my last flushing toilet ever. But no, like you go there and it's like, I mean, it was nicer there than it was even in San Diego where I lived, and I mean, and it is like Cape Town is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite cities ever. And the cost of living in comparison to even Florida, but California, is incredible. I mean, it's just like Bali, like
Mhm.
there's the what you can see and do and get in the quality of food and people and conversations and wine and all of that is so nice,
Mhm.
and it was beyond any of what I thought it was ever going to be. And I never would have known that if I didn't go, and
Right,
see it
right.
for myself. And so I think I should probably petition them to pay me to be a tourism board, because I've sent so many people down there since.
Yes.
But
I have
yeah.
yet to be there. I went to Tanzania and Uganda or Rwanda. And that was, oh my God, my favorite. But I I've never been there, but I've heard one of my friends travels all over and he said, but hands down, that's the
Yeah.
favorite place he's been.
Yeah.
So back to your one question, where my like dream retreat would be next is in Africa.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what part?
I was looking into I looked in Morocco because I think that would be like a
Mm,
really interesting place as well, but also South Africa I think it would be
yeah.
beautiful too. Which anywhere in Africa. Like I love Africa. I'm very much, like I said,
Hmm.
nature, animals, and
Hmm.
I love it there.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Cape Town is by far one of my favorite cities. I think I like it even more than Bali, but it's a
Mhm.
different feel. I guess more like I could see living there,
Right.
it'd be so cool to live down there, and you would love it for
Yeah.
sure. And it's so neat to see like how close everything is, like the winelands are only about 45 minutes outside of Cape Town. And then you've got all of, just outside of Johannesburg, all the safaris and things that you can
Mhm.
do. It's just incredible. My husband actually, with his brothers and his dad, I guess it was, oh Lord, 4 years ago now, maybe I guess 5. Wow, 5 years goes by quickly. Usually because of the little one that just walked
Yes,
in, right? But
so cute.
uh they took a motorbike, they took like
Uh,
I don't want to say scooters because they were like Yamaha motorcycles. They did
uh-huh.
a motorbike trip from South Africa through to Namibia. And
Wow.
like the pictures from that 2-week trip and like the little B&Bs that they stayed at along the way just are incredible. Like they were riding alongside of like giraffes that are like following
Wow.
them just like in the
Oh my
wild. It was
gosh.
crazy. Yeah. He took some incredible pictures
Oh my
like just
gosh.
during that 2-week trip. So I'd love to,
Yeah,
see
I'm gonna
that
go
and do
stalk
it.
them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
stalk
know.
them on
Yeah,
Facebook.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I could ride a motorcycle.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
how
So
fun.
for sure. So I would definitely, yeah, that'd be a great destination for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think how you were saying when you first went to Africa, and it's labeled as like scary or not being safe, especially for women. It's really all about, and this is part of just stepping into you and becoming more empowered, is forming your own formulated opinion based on facts. Because a lot of the times, we look at the news. The news is only going to report negative things. They're not like,
Mhm.
today there were 700 hugs given in South Africa, or
Right.
this little kid is doing well or survived like child slavery, or
Yeah.
they, they don't I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news, I don't watch anything. And I know some people are going to say like, well, that's a opinion too. Like, you're not doing anything. But for me, like, the news is just feeding us negative information. They
Right.
focus on the bad, and of course you're going to hear only the bad stories, but that's because they're not reporting all the good things that are happening too. So I always like tell everybody to look at the travel advisories, of course, because that's from
Right.
a viable source. But form your own opinion. Don't let like be educated in your decision. Absolutely. But really, you can travel everywhere quite safely, and as long
Yeah.
as um, you were doing it smart. Like, when I would travel by myself, I wouldn't go out drinking at night. Like,
Right.
I didn't do walk in the back alley alone.
Hmm.
But you can, for cheap, you can do it. You don't, it doesn't have to be this dream.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's like, like just basic law of attraction. So like if you've got fearful thoughts that say you're going to get, jumped in broad daylight, then, and
Right.
you're consistently adding feeling to that and the fear to that, then, it might manifest, right?
Yes.
Because you're like obsessed with the thought of that happening versus
Mhm.
like being aware and responsible, but also finding the beauty in the people there and the locals
Mhm.
and being able to, like usually if you become part of the culture while you're in the culture and adapt yourself to that and like want to learn from the people around you, then they put their arm around you to like keep you safe too and to tell you where the
Mhm.
cool places locals go, and
Right.
I mean, I've met some of the neatest people just in our travels worldwide that, not to say I wouldn't meet them in America either, but like it's definitely an abundance of, great things as
Mhm.
opposed to, like a trepidation or fear of shitty things happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. I love that you
Yeah.
mentioned that. It really is all about your mindset,
Yeah.
like just having general faith and trust in humanity as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
we're all mostly good people,
Yeah. Yeah.
So just having faith in that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the last question, as far as like, how do you get past like the fear, like any fears that come up when you set this big goal? Because like a lot of my listeners are, you know, everybody, everybody has their fears, right? Everybody's got
Yes.
their goals and like the things that they want to do. And there's always a couple of things usually that hold us back from doing it. Like you said, keep you safe, keep you in your comfort zone. So like, if you're someone, for example, before you started holding retreats, did you ever have a fear of like, oh no, what if I book this and nobody like shows up, right? Or nobody, like, am I going to have just a nice vacation with 10 of my closest friends that decide to book a trip, right? So like,
Yes.
how did you get past that and start to like really manifest your attendees and get the
Yeah,
word
yeah.
out about your events?
Oh my gosh, such a great question. So my coaching, what I offer is, it's all about shaking like society's expectations of you, stepping into yourself, being untamed, unapologetic, like truly being you. And a lot of people, women especially, I hear they're saying that they feel stuck, they feel overwhelmed, they feel directionless, they suffer maybe from anxiety. And this comes in the shape of form like of either like it can be traveling, it can be with any decision, but just feeling kind of unknown and just not sure about where their direction they're going or about what decision to make. So they lack a lot of clarity. And really what it all boils down to is not having a lot of self-worth. So that's a lot of my teaching and how I actually have a tool, and I think I provided it to you as well. So I have a freebie that everybody can download. It's on my Instagram, like in the link in my bio, but it's this 5-step process, or it's 5 tools that you are not using that are keeping you stuck while others are thriving. And some of those are, one is like not having clarity, not giving yourself enough love, not trusting in the choices that you're making. And it all boils down to the feeling of like just not feeling worthy of what we desire because we don't love ourselves enough. And how I manifest the life I want and how I move through the decisions, it's all outlined in the 5-tool process. But the main one that I go through with all of my decisions is always coming back to my why, and in believing in myself and feeling worthy enough that I'm choosing to have these retreats, I'm choosing to book this travel, I'm choosing to make this decision for me, and knowing that that's enough, like knowing that my decision is enough, and then manifesting that by having a positive mindset, by stating positive affirmations, by actually physically, the law of attraction, as you mentioned earlier, by doing that and really, as I've worked through all my self-worth, knowing that I'm worthy enough and deserving of all of this, and that's enough for me. I choose that, and I choose coming from a place of love versus coming from a place of fear of like, what if I don't book anybody? What if nobody likes this? What if, and let me tell you, girl, it's not to say that none of those things came up, because you can ask my girlfriend the day. So when we went to Costa Rica, they lost my bags for the first 4 days of the retreat, and it had all of my things in there. And I was like, I'm going to lose my shit. But
you lost your shit. It's going to make you lose your shit, what shit you had left.
Literally. Yes. But so I could have lost my shit again. But I came back to my why I was having this retreat, why the women were here. And none of that included any of the stuff that I had in my luggage. So it's really all about coming back to yourself, coming back, getting present in your body, and just trusting and knowing like your why, or just what like if it's traveling, if it's anything, and just coming back to yourself and knowing that you're worthy, because we all are worthy of all of our dreams. There's no dreams that are too big, too lofty. I know someone told me the other day that they created a vision board, and someone said, "Oh, those are too lofty," and I was like, "Oh, no, no." But it's all about creating a vision, becoming clear on what you want, developing a self-love practice so you can believe that you're worthy, and then coming from a place of confidence so you can move into action.
Oh, I love it. How cool and so beautiful. It's so good.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I have loved our conversation. So Let's see. Tell everyone where they can find you, and if you want to tell the details about the Joshua Tree retreat coming up, or any of your freebies and things like that. If there's,
Yes.
you have
What I got going on, girl.
Yes, exactly.
I got lots of cool shit going on. So
Sounds like it.
yes. So I have the freebie. I recommend all of you guys, everybody just go on and download it if you're feeling that you have a lack of clarity, if you are feeling stuck, if there's just this unknown within you. You can find the link in my bio on IG. That's where I love to hang out. I love interacting with my audience and my tribe. I can be found on IG at the.wild Savannah. And come on there, like, tell me what your biggest takeaway from this is. Tell me if you want to travel somewhere. Like, I love giving people recommendations. I've been, like I said, 30 countries. I love giving you travel tips and advice, and I'll give you all my little traveling hacks. Also for my retreat, so I'm hosting one June 19th through the 23rd, and that's in Joshua Tree, California. I'm also hosting one in Tulum, Mexico, and that is November 11th through the 18th. And that's if you're looking for, this maybe is your first traveling trip, or you want to treat yourself or invest in yourself. We do yoga, meditation, we have an organic cook. You develop like a sisterhood, and you want to travel with a safety net of a supportive community. Come on over. And all this stuff, the link is in the bio. It's on Linktree. You can find all of the links to all of that. My website is www.wild-savannah.com. What else? Oh, I also, if you guys like Facebook, I host a Facebook group called Untamed and Unapologetic. Just search that on Facebook. And that is for, I love hanging out on IG, but Facebook, we get a little more personal. I do live coaching every Tuesday. You get daily motivations. You get, I just posted this morning, like, question of the day. So if you have any specific questions, you can pop on there, ask me a question. I'll get back to you right away. And how we met. I also have a podcast called Wild Within. So I'd love to, you guys, go on over to iTunes, check it out. Let me know, leave a review. I love hearing, I want to make my services specific to my audience and help as many people as I can. So if there's anything, like, don't be afraid to ask. Just shoot me slide into my DMs. Ask me. I love connecting with everyone.
I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much. That sounds great.
Absolutely.
And yes, go listen while you're listening to this podcast. Go look up the Wild Within. Wild Savannah. Now, I think just because that is your handle, you definitely need a retreat in Africa in the Wild Savannah.
Yes.
And there's a beer down there called Savannah. It's like a cider beer. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
For you. I know.
Oh my gosh, Cassie, it has been such a pleasure.
I know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you stopping by today, and we'll look forward to the next conversation. We'll have to do this more often.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Such a pleasure, girlfriend. You keep doing you. I'm watching you from afar. I'm making over my money mindset as we speak.
That's right. There we go. I know. Samesies. I love it.
All right. Well, have a good Tuesday, girlfriend.
Thank you. You too. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Loved this episode of the Makeover Your Mindset podcast? Head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated, so more high vibe people like you can find us. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.